Hey friends, we are going to be doing some Schroth exercises for scoliosis today. And before we start, I want to take a moment and remind you about some of the key features of Schroth so that you can have them top of mind and get the most out of your exercise today. So first, everything that we are doing with scoliosis specific exercise or Schroth exercise is meant to help recalibrate your body's sense of midline three-dimensionally. We want to put your spine in the most stable position that we can in respect to all three planes of motion, and then maintain that position to the best of your ability while you're doing whatever activity or movement it is that you're doing. So one of the first important things to think about when you're doing Schroth exercise is this idea of axial elongation, or lengthening upward from head to toe. This is why you'll often hear me say, keep your ears over your shoulders over your hips, your hip over your ankle. So we're creating this nice, long, lengthened spine from top to bottom. Then we want to think about expansion, expanding into the concavities of your back and creating space. If you picture a curve with scoliosis, the concavities occur on the inner part of the curve. We want to open that space not only top to bottom, but also we need to think about that rotational plane as well. So this is why we sometimes use pads or props on the side of the prominence to move away from that pad and out and back towards the concave part of the spine on the opposite side. Breath becomes very important here. This idea of inhaling and opening and expanding into the concavities of your back. Once you've created that expansion, now it's really time to emphasize muscle activation and using your body's strength to support the stability of the spine and maintaining that position. So you're going to be thinking about axial elongation, expansion into the concavities of your back, and also muscle activation while we do these exercises. And I'm going to start in sitting facing the stall bars here. But if you don't have a set of stall bars at home, you can also just sit on a stool, bringing fingertips up to shoulders. You could sit facing a wall, reaching up a wall. So there are a few options here. But I'm going to start today sitting facing the stall bars behind me. If you do have a set of stall bars or you're sitting facing a wall, you want to really sit pretty close to that wall or to those stall bars so your knees might actually be touching. When you first sit down, think about getting equal weight through your sit bones. So you don't want to feel like you're leaning to one side, but really try to find that balance, equal weight right to left, and bringing your trunk over your hips. A mirror can be really helpful here because you can see if you've got ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, but you can also align nose to belly button. So I'm then going to reach up and grab the highest bar that I can reach comfortably. And then from here, we're going to start our exercise. So before you even begin, we're trying to set you up in that best 3D postural correction. So I've already used the principles of axial elongation to try to create alignment throughout my body. And now I'm going to start with breath and focus on expanding into the concave areas of my back. As you inhale, lengthen, expand and open. As you exhale, try to keep that expansion, pressure, and tension. Inhale, lengthen, expand, and open even more. And then exhale, try to keep expansion, pressure, tension. I'm going to do one more breath here. Inhale, growing tall and wide. And exhale, maintain. And then I'm going to turn just so that you can see from a different view, or if you're sitting at home and you're just sitting on a chair, then you can go ahead and bring your fingertips up to your shoulders, still thinking about that equal weight bearing through your sit bones, lining up nose over belly button, and again using breath. Inhale, lengthen, expand, and open, and then exhale, keep pressure, keep tension, maintain. That's your muscle activation, working to hold those concave areas open even as you exhale. Inhale, lengthen, expand, open even more. And then exhale, push. Think about bringing elbows wide, head and hips opposite directions. Feel that tension build and muscles working throughout your core, maybe even into your arms as well. Try to keep neck and face relaxed. Inhale, lengthen, expand, and open. And exhale, hold it right there. Keep pressure, keep tension, maintain. Inhale, lengthen, and expand. And then exhale, push elbows wide, head and hips opposite directions. Keep going. Inhale, lengthen, and expand. And then exhale, push. Keep pressure, keep tension, maintain. Let's do a few more. Inhale, lengthen, and expand. And then exhale, hold it right there. Keep that pressure and tension. Inhale again, lengthen, expand, and open. And exhale, keep pressure, keep tension, maintain. Once you are in that best correction, bring your hands down to your lap and try not to change anything about the position of your trunk. This is going into what we then call integration in Schroth, or the idea that you need to be able to do something else while you keep the alignment, while you keep that postural stability that you just created through exercise. So the something else could be a lot of different things. A nice one is just some little arm circles up and down. You can think about not changing that position in your spine. You're staying tall, you're staying lengthened. You've still got ears over your shoulders, shoulders over your hips. Nose and belly button are lining up. Keep going here. So the movement here is really secondary. The real work is happening in your core, in all the muscles stabilizing your spine. We can also try just doing a little seated march. So picking up one foot and then the other. Again, really thinking about minimizing movement throughout your trunk. There's going to be a little weight shift, but you don't want to feel like you're really rounding or changing the position in your back. The movement again is secondary, so it's okay to move less. If you are in a more stable position, that's better. Think about the length throughout your spine. Think about the expansion that you need to create, maintaining that expansion with movement here, because this is how this postural correction translates into your day-to-day activities when you're upright, when you're shopping at the store, brushing your teeth, whatever it is that you're doing. We want to be out of your curve pattern in the more corrected position as much as possible. All right, so take a little break there. And then we're going to come up into standing and spend just a moment in standing, working on some of those same things. So, always starting by finding that best alignment, best 3D postural correction. That really is so important. So think about where your weight is on your feet, bringing your hips underneath your trunk, lining up nose and belly button, standing tall, ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over ankles. Make sure that you really understand what you need to do to get into that best alignment. And then from here, now we could again do fingertips on shoulders. This helps with the muscle activation piece and also a little bit of lengthening. So every position, everything that we're doing with your arms, with your legs, with props in Schroth, always connects to helping you achieve the best postural correction possible. And then when you take, you take the props or you take the support away, hopefully your body remembers what that feels like and you can maintain that better alignment even as you move and do other activities. So we're just going to do a couple breaths here again. First, inhaling and lengthening, stretching head to toe, thinking about axial elongation. As you exhale, try to maintain that length and width. And then inhale again, lengthen, grow tall, grow wide. And exhale, keep that nice length and width throughout your spine. And then shift your focus for just a moment to the expansion. Think about inhaling and expanding through the concavities of your back, moving prominences forward and upward, concavities out and back. As you exhale, try to focus on maintaining that expansion, pushing elbows wide, pushing your head to the ceiling, grounding through the floor. It should feel like work. You should feel like there is tension in your body, that it's effort, that you are holding this position, that you're not just standing here. Couple more breaths. Inhale, lengthen, expand, and open. And then exhale, elbows wide, head and hips opposite directions. Keep this going. A few more breaths. The longer you stay in this position, the deeper you're trying to get into maximizing that postural correction. If you feel yourself getting tired and you feel that you can't hold this position any longer, it's okay to take a little rest break, reset for a moment. Your goal is always trying to achieve the best possible correction that you can in any given moment. That might take a couple of minutes. You could spend longer in this time if you've got enough strength and stamina to do so. And then again, coming back to that idea of integration or adding some movement here. So I'm gonna come so that I have a little bit of support because we're gonna do just a little bit of balance. So if you don't have something right now that you're close to, you might wanna move so that you can hold on to something stable. And then here's where we can think about curve and being a little bit more specific to what your curve is. Most individuals with scoliosis tend to have a side that they prefer to weight bear on, and that side tends to correspond with the convexity of their primary curve. So what that means is you might find yourself liking to stand in a position where you've got weight through one leg, maybe you even kick that other leg out to help find, your body is trying to find some balance here. And what we're gonna do in this exercise is try to put some weight onto the leg that is your not dominant leg. This is gonna help lengthen and open that concave side even more. So weight bearing leads to lengthening of the muscles. We wanna encourage your body to spend some time on that side that maybe doesn't get as much weight bearing just throughout the course of your day. So if you have a primary right lumbar curve or right thoracolumbar curve, you're likely to want to weight bear through that right leg. So you would do this exercise with more focus on your left leg. If you have a primary left lumbar curve, you might like to weight bear more onto your left leg, and so you would do this exercise standing on your right leg. If you have a primary right thoracic curve, same thing, you'd probably find that you like to weight bear a little bit more through this right leg, and so you do the exercise on the left. If it was a primary left thoracic curve, then you would probably again be weight bearing more through the left leg and want to do this exercise on the right. So think about your curve pattern, think about where you tend to like to weight bear as a result, and then do this exercise with weight on what is your non-dominant leg. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna be standing here on my left leg. As soon as you shift weight onto that leg that is opposite the convexity of that primary curve, see if you can feel how that helps expand and open the concavities of your back. So another way to think about this would be if you know where the concavities of your back are and where that primary concavity is, you want to stand with your weight on that side because that's going to help lengthen this space. So we're going to have weight through that leg, and all I'm going to be doing here is flexing the hip on the opposite leg and lowering it back down. So it's a little bit of balance, it's a little bit of stability. You can have as much or as little support as you need here from whatever you're standing by. What you're trying to avoid is feeling like you're not controlling your hips, so you're really trying to think about not letting them go out to the side, but keeping them right underneath. Keep glutes nice and tight, stay as tall as you can as you're picking up that foot and setting it down. You can time this with breath, thinking about inhaling and lengthening, exhaling, maintaining that length, pressure, and tension. Eventually your standing leg is gonna get tired. So when that happens and your standing leg is getting a little bit tired, and you feel like you can't hold that position very well, that's your cue to take a little rest break and reset, find that best alignment one more time. Hopefully now, a couple of things. Hopefully you're feeling a little bit taller, like you're in a little bit better position for your spine. And maybe you also have just a little bit clearer picture of the key components of Schroth and why that's going to help you really kind of level up your exercises and get the most out of them. So one last time to recap, it's axial elongation, expansion through the concavities, and muscle activation to help you achieve that best 3D postural correction. When you do that, you're telling your body, here is midline, this is my true center, and this is where you want to be as much as you can throughout your day. That's the goal. All right, I hope you found this helpful. Please let me know if you have questions, what types of videos you'd like to see next, and I appreciate you watching.